typically have an issue with that because it's like, I'm paying all this money for tuition. Now you're telling me I have to pay to practice? What the f? Hands-on practice. If you're not getting theory, don't go there. Hi, if you're new here, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cameron, licensed esthetician and licensed aesthetics educator and the founder of Lash Beauty Company. We are an aesthetics and eyelash extension retailer in Greensboro, North Carolina. So since my part 1 of everything you need to know about esthetician school did so well, I wanted to do a part 2 where I share everything that you need to know about esthetician school, a couple other things that you should consider as well. I'm also going to be doing my skincare in between this, and washing my lashes. I'll be sure to link every product that I use down below, and I'll also, if it's from Lash Queen, you'll know, okay? For starters, you want to make sure that you research different beauty schools, okay? And I might have said that in my last video, but I'm dead serious. You need to make sure that you have researched every beauty school option in your area. Private cosmetology schools, you also want to look at community colleges. Community colleges have started to be on the rise when it comes to cosmetology and aesthetics, and it's for good reason. To a community college, you actually are just learning the core aesthetics. Like, I'm not sure if community colleges teach all the extra stuff like lash extensions and everything else, but community colleges will teach you the basics and the core of aesthetics, which is what you need to go to state board. Community colleges, obviously, they're not going to be as fluffy, okay? You might not graduate and have pink scrubs. Your classroom might not even look as, you know, dolled up as some of these private esthetician schools, if I'm being honest, because it is a community college, and community colleges are usually government or state funded. So they're probably not going to have all that extra gimmicky stuff like the hydrofacial machine. Like, they're probably not going to have all that, but they will teach you what you need to take and pass your state board. Curriculum at community colleges are in a way that you learn what you need to learn for state board, and you learn it at a good rate. So you're looking at maybe a $3,000 price tag for beauty school versus a $15,000 to $20,000 price tag of what you pay at a private beauty school. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I previously worked at a private beauty school where I was a health and style here in Greensboro before it closed, and they were charging their students anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 for just aesthetics. And then if you wanted to take makeup was an additional thousands of dollars. I honestly feel as though the only reason that this school, and you know, now that I no longer work here, the school is no longer in existence. Now that I am no longer an employee, I can say this: that school was a scam. Okay, some of these beauty schools are scams. So let me get into that. So Health and Style Institute was a private beauty school here in Greensboro, North Carolina. They also had locations in Atlanta as well. And at that beauty school, they charged anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 for aesthetics. I was only an esthetician teacher, so I'm not sure of what the price tag was for cosmetology. But the reason that they were able to charge that is because they were offering financial aid to students. And a lot of the times, that's people's problem. You know, they can't afford to drop thousands of dollars on beauty school off the gate, because private schools expect you to do that. You know, they expect you to have all of the money for your tuition up front, or if you're going to do a payment plan, their payment plans are still not feasible for some people. Some people, their payment plans are like $300 a week, and that can be a lot for a solo mom or just a young woman, you know, trying to better herself. That can be a lot. So Health and Style was kind of bridging that gap and offering financial aid. Because they were offering financial aid, it was so predatory, because you know, this is the only school in the state that offers financial aid for what you're trying to do. So yeah, I'll go ahead and sign off on this $13,000 loan to go to esthetician school if that means I don't have to pay right now. I can pay when I finish, kind of similar to college. So you guys, you have to be on the lookout for stuff like that, which is why I'm so grateful that I'm in the position now that I don't work for nobody. I work for myself. I only work for Lash Queen. I'm in the position now that I can share these kinds of things, because that is so predatory. Like, the only reason, and they were charging people meal plans and all type of stuff. How are you charging people meal plans at a trade school? Not one cafeteria. I mean, meal plans, room and board they were charging for. How? This is not a campus where people are coming to live. So some beauty schools will do that. You have to watch the owners, especially the private beauty schools especially. So community colleges, not so much. Community colleges, you know, I would still watch, still pay attention. But community colleges, like I said, they are government funded, so you're less likely to deal with BS at a community college. These private schools, baby, them people, once they get your money, they might play in your face. They might play in your face about your hours. They really might. So really do your research when it comes to the beauty school that you're going to. Ask previous people who went there, okay? Ask when you go for your tour, ask them, hey, do you have any accounts of previous students, or can I get the contact of a previous student? Hell, you can ask a teacher. Ask a teacher, ask an instructor there, hey, what's it like teaching here? How are the students? You know, what's the program like here? If that school does not have any structure, if they don't have a time that they want their students to be there, if you're not, you know, getting hands-on practice, if you're not getting theory, don't go there. Okay, don't go there. Don't go to a school, and also don't go to a school that their primary skill that they really teach is hair. Aesthetics is just brushed under the rug. You want to go to a school where aesthetics is one of like their foundation principles, and they have educators and instructors in there who do not play when it comes to aesthetics, okay? Because some of these beauty schools, they look at aesthetics as just a money grab. They don't really care to teach aesthetics because it's not as long as a discipline as cosmetology, which is really unfair to us estheticians, because although we don't spend as much time in school, the amount of material that we have to learn is very vast, so it should be taken seriously. Make sure you do your research on all of the schools. Go look at every single school. Go to community colleges as well. Go do all of those things so that you know what school that you're going to be, you know, trying to register to. Okay, now let's talk about finances and financial options. And I think I'm going to make this into a series because it's so much really that you can learn about beauty school, but I'm going to keep this into small videos because I don't want to lose anyone. Make sure you are also seeing about scholarships. So these brands and companies, Lash Queen is also about to offer scholarships to beauty school students. So these brands like SkinScript, Dermalogica, look into these big box brands that are for estheticians. A lot of times they offer scholarships to future estheticians. So you're someone who's interested in aesthetics, but you just don't have the money to pay for a full tuition cost. You can apply to some of these scholarships, and I'll try to link them down below. You can apply to some of these scholarships to see about entering into aesthetics full-time, paid for by the company. Okay, a lot of times these companies do that in a way to try to give back to the aesthetics community by offering tuition to students who cannot afford it, who do not have the financial capability to do so. A lot of times these companies will pay for you full out for you to go to esthetician school. So really, if you are someone who's like, you know, I just don't have the funds to pay for aesthetics, but I'm very passionate about it, this is something that I really do want to do, you want to check out those scholarships, okay? Scholarship options. Also, whenever you go to the school, ask the school, you know, what type of financial aid and scholarship opportunities are there for me as a student, okay? Because that's really important on how I fund my education, okay? So make sure you do those things. See about scholarship, financial aid options. The private schools, I'm gonna be honest, are not gonna have that many financial aid options because they're private, they're privately funded. So they're gonna expect you to come up with the money. They're gonna expect you to either work, you know, or do something, you know, and they'll have payment plans, but like I said, sometimes those payment plans can run anywhere from $300 to $500 a week, which can be a lot for someone. So you want to make sure you find a school that does offer some financial, if they do offer financial aid, great. Some programs, any incentives to kind of help you lower your tuition cost. Let's talk academic and practical skills. So for starters, I'm actually going in, and I only have a drop left. I'm going in with my lemon balm extract. See the Future, back it up a little bit, by Farmhouse Fresh. I love this stuff. It's great for hyperpigmentation. Talk about academic and practical skills. So you are going to be expected to practice on clients, okay? And if you watched my last video, I did mention that the school is going to expect you to get clients in. Now, this is where a lot of beauty school students kind of have a disconnect, because it's like, how am I supposed to get clients? How am I supposed to get people to practice on? And eventually, look, I got so much. Eventually though, the school is going to say, well, okay, if you don't get clients, you're going to have to pay to practice. And again, beauty school students typically have an issue with that, because it's like, I'm paying all this money for tuition, now you're telling me I have to pay to practice? What the like, you know, people are like what? So in order to prevent you having to pay for, because I've worked at three going on 4 beauty schools now, and students were not happy about the fact that they had to pay for, you know, to pay to practice on other students. They didn't like that. But when you think about it from a business standpoint, because beauty school is still a business, the school is paying for the materials for you to use to practice, okay? And if you're constantly practicing on other students, you're not bringing in clients. And so the school needs clients as well. School does need clients, because they need people to come and pay for the students' services, okay? And people that go visit beauty schools, they know for services, they know that, you know, you're getting a discounted service because this is a student, okay? And unfortunately, you'd have people that go into beauty schools and act a fool, and want their stuff professionally done to the T. They basically want the instructor to do it, but I never do it. But please, baby, please, you came in here for this kind of service, you're gonna have a student practice and do them lashes on you. I'm not. Hello. But anyway, all to say that in order to avoid paying for practice at beauty school, you need to be bringing in clients, okay? And this is a tough one, okay? If you can't bring in clients in beauty school, you're gonna have a hard time bringing clients in out in the field. Use that as an opportunity to really practice getting clientele and you know, executing good services. Because when I used to teach at beauty schools, those girls a lot of times would just rush to the service, not really care about how effective it was, not talk to the client about post care. A lot of the times it was, well, I'm not gonna sell her a kit or a facial kit because she can just go to Ulta. I just push them to go to Ulta. Why? You're not practicing how to retail. Are you gonna, when you get into the field, are you gonna tell your clients, hey, you can just go to Ulta to buy this? Or are you gonna walk them over to your retail counter and sell them some retail? You have to use beauty school to your full advantage. Even if it feels, it just doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't matter. You need to practice gaining clientele. You need to practice doing a good job, executing the service. Let me give you a good example. My mom has been going to the same cosmetologist for 28 years. I'm 26, y'all. My mom has been going to the same stylist my entire life. And you know where she found her? At Leon's Beauty School in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's where my mom found her cosmetologist, was at her beauty school. And she's been rocking with her for over 20 years. So don't underestimate the power of someone becoming a client, a long-term client, because you just don't know. A lot of people do go to beauty schools to get their licensed professional that they intend to stay with for many years to come. Next, going in with my witch hazel. Okay, going in with witch hazel to tone my skin. I want to make sure that you are comfortable gaining clients to get that practical skill. To try to get clients off rip. I mean, have your business cards ready when you're out and about. You don't have to go up to people while they're shopping and, hey, I want to stay business. No, that's not how you, but you can, you know, spark up genuine conversation with someone. That's how I would do when I first started my beauty business. If I'm shopping in Ulta, because Ulta, Sephora, those places are like the best places for clients, because hello, whenever I was shopping in there for my own personal needs, I would make sure I looked the part. So I would have, my hair would look nice, my lashes would look exceptionally nice, and my brows would look nice, okay? Because you gotta look the part. Would you go to someone who has terrible hair to do their hair, for them to do your hair? Make sure you look the part when you go to these places. And so I would go into like a Ulta or Sephora, and like people would just compliment me. Like I would walk around, sometimes I would spark up conversation with people and compliments. So oh my god, girl, I love your purse, it's so cute. And a lot of times the very next thing that people compliment me on is my lashes. I love your lash extensions, they look so nice, da 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 da. And or if I'm at a farmer's market or something, I just bought bread, $10 bread, crazy. $10 bread the other day from the farmer's market, and the girl, one of her compliments was, oh my god, I love your lashes. Think I didn't hand her a business card? I'm a full-time lash artist and esthetician. Please come see me in my salon. I would love to do your lashes this way. You know, you really have to be willing to put yourself out there, even as early on in school. If I was to do beauty school all over again, I would be one of those girls who have their tripod out 24/7 to spend a day with me at beauty school. I would have me walking in the door. Today we are learning, I'm sitting down in class. Today my teacher is teaching us how to boop. And every day, every day I would document my beauty school experience, and I would be steadily growing and posting and actively telling people, growing my feed, growing my Instagram, showing people like, this is what I do every day as a beauty school student, getting people interested in what I have to offer. Today we worked on branding. I'm thinking my brand is going to be this. Like, you have to build that, okay? And people like stuff like that. People like to see your journey from start to finish, from start of you starting beauty school to finishing and graduating, getting your own space. It's people love to watch your journey. And so you want to get comfortable doing those type of things. Beauty school is not it's not the same as it was when I went. It's not the same before I went. But what I'm starting to see the trends in today is that a lot of beauty school students feel like, well, I'm not going to start doing anything until I leave school, and that's just not the proper way to think of things. Next, I'm going in with my Crisp Start by Farmhouse Fresh. It is a salicylic acid cleanser to combat my acne. A couple last tips that I want to share, because like I said, I'm going to make this into a series. I don't want this to be too long. Is professional development. Hopefully your beauty school offers like field trips and things for you to go on, so that you can really see the beauty industry in real life. And so that's something that I really wanted for my students. I think the first week that I started working at Health and Style, I took my students on a field trip to a medical spa where they got to ask questions, you know, really try to understand what avenue of aesthetics they wanted to go to, because aesthetics is so big. There's so many different things that you can do. We've got lashes, we've got brows, we've got medical spas, we've got all types of beauty bars, like beauty counters at Ulta. Like, there's so many places that an esthetician really can work. You have estheticians that are in solo. So there are like different avenues for you to work as an esthetician. And so as an educator, I really wanted to make sure that I showed my students like all of the different avenues that they could take. You know, if you don't want to go solo, you don't have to go solo. Maybe you can start at a Hand and Stone and work your way up to becoming solo and doing your own facialist. Or maybe you can start at a European Wax Center where you see estheticians that are waxing people all day. Maybe you want to be a waxer. You know, I would take my students to the salons and things like that, these specialties, so that they could see firsthand what the aesthetics industry has to offer. And so as a beauty school student, I want to remind you to go to these, you know, places with lots of questions. You know, ask the people that currently work there. I take my students to Sephora, to Ulta, European Wax Center, Hand and Stone, Waxing the City. Ask those estheticians questions. Ask the boss questions. When I took my students to a private medical spa, it was privately owned and it was one of the first in Greensboro. I took them there and they had plenty of questions to ask the owner. I also would take them to places where they were willing to hire students. So European Wax Center, Hand and Stone, like those places are willing to hire students because they know they're fresh out of aesthetic school, they need some experience, and they need a place to work. So make sure you go in prepared and soak up all of that good information. We're going in with toner, Witch Hazel toner. And honestly, I like Witch Hazel as my toner because it's not super stripping, but I want something because I have an acne skin, and then I also suffer from post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation because sometimes I do pick my my skin and I shouldn't. I try to put pimple patches over it, but I'm one of those girls, if I see a pimple on my face, baby, it has to go now. Back to the topic. Okay. Last tip I want to give is to keep a positive attitude and stay motivated. The best beauty school student that you can be. Really go in and apply yourself. Don't lose focus, okay? Because beauty school is only 6 to 8 months. And then you are full on your own as a licensed esthetician after you go take your state board exams. And from there, it's continued education that's going to be keeping you afloat and actually, you know, keeping you educated about everything you do. Because beauty school is very short time period. Make sure you stay motivated. Keep keep yourself up, because beauty school is a very short time period and it's gonna go by just like that. Make sure you keep a positive attitude. Try to be a sponge. I might have said that in my first video, but it's true. Be a sponge. Learn everything that you can. I know initially it's like, oh, I want to do lashes, so I only want to do lashes. I want to learn how to wax, so I'm only going to pay attention to the waxing. But you never know. You might get into beauty school and be like, huh, I really love doing lash lifts. Let me add that to my menu. Or I really love doing facials. I wasn't really big on facials before, but let me add that to my menu because I'm good at it. So make sure you keep a positive attitude, stay motivated, be nice to people, tour all of the beauty school options that you possibly can, okay? If you fall in love with it and it's a good price range for you and it seems to be a good program, go for it. But I would highly recommend looking into community colleges and things like that, because they do offer more affordable options, and I'm talking less than $4,000 for you to attend aesthetic school full-time and get your licensure, which is what you need to pass state board. Everything else is fluff. Okay, everything else, any school that goes over and beyond from what a typical aesthetics curriculum does, like lash extensions is typically not included, like true lash extensions, not clusters. That's typically not included in a beauty school curriculum, just because like I said, I'm an instructor now and it's so much curriculum to teach that it can really get overwhelming. So try to look into more affordable options if there are any, unless you're just someone who you want the pink scrub experience, you want the pink graduation gown experience. If so, definitely head to a private school. Okay, so that is all that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Are we loving the curls? Okay, I'm going for bombshell curls now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.